Oh, finally, the death battle came out. It only took us, what, a week to get to it at the time of recording?
About. I mean, not really a week. They keep saying they're going to do death battle every 2 weeks, but you know.
Yeah, but for us, it's been about a week since recorded it, or since it came out. And I have some questions here for who was doing the research for Death Battle. Because that was something.
Mm-hmm.
So, but let's get this out of the way for what we're primarily going over Dimitri's feats in this death battle. That's what
Well,
we're primarily going over because for some reason, I guess someone didn't play through all the routes because even though they said they were getting meta, they kind of weren't.
mm-hmm.
All right, so what do you think we should cover first that was kind of like on the BS scale for Dimitri?
Uh, Endgame Dimitri was equal to Edelgard. Endgame.
Or all right, so, well, I guess like that's kind of on the point. So we're gonna basically be covering the different endings because, as you know, Fire Emblem Three Houses has four different endings, but we're probably primarily focusing on for this point the Blue Lions route ending and Edelgard's route ending, which is Crimson Flower. In Crimson Flower, the Death Battle's primary argument is that Edelgard, I think they basically said by herself was the one to help take down Rhea when it was very clearly not just her. She delivered the final blow, I believe, but it was definitely due to the fact that she had the Black Eagle Strike Force, magical nukes, and Byleth on her side.
When humanity stands strong and people reach out for each other, there's no need for gods. Rhea, your reign of tyranny is over. The time has come. I'm ending this once and for all!
To help take
Yeah.
down Rhea. And let's do that in comparison to Dimitri. And this is, I guess we should say this. In Dimitri's route, Edelgard becomes the Hegemon Husk, this giant creature of unimaginable looks, because she has two crests, because no one in Fire Emblem Three Houses is allowed to have two crests, because it basically overwhelms the human body.
Yeah.
So, with that, she transforms and and again, it's more of the wording than anything else. That they said that Dimitri is able to take on Edelgard by himself, which I would say is much more plausible than Edelgard just taking on Rhea by herself.
Uh-huh.
Because as they show off in the cutscenes, these two are more comparable, Dimitri to Hegemon Husk Edelgard, than any of them is to Rhea. So that's like one of the main points we're trying to argue here.
Yeah. It don't really make sense.
Uh, Attack potency wise, it kind of makes sense. At least to, let me say this, Edelgard and Dimitri, because one gives them massive threat power, but Edelgard has her two crests, one of which being, the crest of flames, the fire emblem.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, that gives her immense power, but it's almost to the level of Dimitri. And we should really be going into Rhea or Saros here. That Rhea, as a dragon, is able to wipe out hundreds of people with ease just due to her, just breathing, essentially.
Yes.
Which is a very valid argument. So they're trying to say that they're on the same level.
Which they are not.
True. Again.
Case in point, they basically just said that Edelgard was able to take on Freya, but main character and plot armor, it's not just her. You can, but you need help, especially in a game of Fire Emblem where it's all about strategy and placing your units in a way where they don't get killed.
True. And
unless you're a heartless bastard that just wants results.
True. Also true. Because let's jump into our next point, which I feel like is where it's really, really where Death Battle dropped the ball on this. And it's durability. So, they say that Dimitri and to an extent Edelgard were as durable as Rhea because they were able to take them out. If I misrepeat that or something, I'll probably put the quote here from them. But what they say is that because Rhea was able to take on 2 essentially magic nukes from those who slither in the dark, and because Dimitri and Edelgard are able to match each other and Edelgard was able to defeat Rhea, therefore durability also stacks for them. Which is just blatantly wrong.
Yeah.
Because there is a scene, and I can't remember if it's in Verdant Wind or in the Blue Lions route. I want to say it's Blue Lions. But the Death Knight rides off and says, hey, by the way, the people I'm working for, they're sending magic nukes this way. Get out of Dodge. And they're like, what, really? And then the cutscene plays. I'll probably put it here or whatever.
It is coming. Leave now, or all of you will die.
Run! We have to evacuate immediately! What just happened here? The fort. It's just gone.
Where it shows.
Right, so real quick, I'm actually watching it. So I'm watching the final results. They show that I'm at the part where they just finished talking about how Dimitri has lightning magic, which yes, it makes sense. But those who know, Dimitri's magic sucks. And Kashmir, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you have to be a certain class to utilize magic?
I know for the sake of the argument, they're not doing that because they'll say this. Yes, you do have to be a certain class in order to use different types of magic. It's for the sake of the animation. It's like, oh, I'm not in the right class, therefore I can't do magic. It's for the sake of the animation. If they want it to be something a bit more specific, I believe it's like you can't heal yourself unless you're using concoctions or elixirs.
Right.
I believe it's not until what? Unless you have a 45 staff in some games. And it's not until what? You have Live to Serve. Or it's not until, I believe, Engage that you can't heal yourself. Unless you have, like, that innate ability. Like, oh, here, Dimitri was in the... I want to say, in the Priest class. So he has Renewal. So he passively heals throughout the fight. Which I don't believe they did. Because if they give Dimitri everything... Which I believe they basically did.
Okay. So, here's the thing. So, again... So they were comparing feats,
Yes.
where Guts defeated like a demon, which is strong. This is like, yeah, but it's strong, but not compared to magic newts. And it says here, because I have caps on, that in Edelgard's route, she defeated Rhea, who survived 2 javelins of light.
Yeah,
And
all right,
then
so-
immediately goes into, and in Dimitri's route, he defeated Edelgard.
But yeah, they're using essentially like the multiverse theory here.
Which is not what you're supposed to do. Each route is its own separate story, unless there is an option to have all 3 routes converge on one another.
Nope, that's only in 3 hopes, I believe, where you can have you do a very specific condition to have everyone join in and survive.
Yeah.
Against like the true final threat here versus just say like other routes.
Yeah.
So
But they used 2 separate routes. They used Edelgard's route and Dimitri's. Like, oh, Edelgard was able to defeat Rhea in her route. In Dimitri's, he's able to defeat Edelgard. So that's a much more impressive feat. It's like, no. Edelgard defeated Rhea with help. You're implying she did it soloed. You're implying that she played through all of Dark Souls and Elden Rings and took lessons from Let Me Solar Her.
Yeah, so that's like the whole process of like, no, it doesn't matter. Because we can go into durability. Let's go into durability right now, right here. Dimitri dies in Verdant Wind off screen to a bunch of random ass soldiers.
Still, the battlefield looks awful. And I wonder what became of the Kingdom Army. And Dimitri.
I saw him.
Who? Dimitri?
He was completely different from how I remember him. He looked like a crazed demon while he was fighting. He pursued Edelgard as she retreated, but he didn't get far before he collapsed. I saw him surrounded by Imperial troops and pierced by their spears. I'll never forget it. He deserved a better end.
Dimitri. He went through so much to make it here, only for his efforts to be in vain.
I can't even begin to understand what Dimitri must have been feeling, but there must have been some other way. Why did he have to go like that?
And his vassal, Dedu. And did he fall as well?
I don't know.
Your Highness. Your ambitions are my own now. I will bring you Edelgard's head. I swear it!
So where's his massive durability? Like, oh, he got overwhelmed. Well, essentially, that's what happened to Rhea. She got overwhelmed. And let's remember this. The relics in Fire Emblem Three Houses are essentially just designed to help kill the dragons. The dragon creatures in Fire Emblem Three Houses, the ones that transform, the immovable, the boss that you fight in Claude's route. Like, they're designed to help kill them. That's why Silphus's weapon, the Sword of the Creator, is so fucking strong.
Here's another thing. So, you know how... So you've watched the Death Battle. You know how they said that Rhea was able to take on 2, right?
Yes.
2 Javelins of Light. So another thing, and this is probably just a little bit of wording. So after they just went over the whole separate routes, they said, so if Rhea could take on the javelins of light, then Dimitri should be on a similar level.
Hell no. Because again, the Death Knight in one of the routes probably says, hey, get out of dodge, because they're sending a javelin of light towards us. They're sending one towards us, and if you don't get out of dodge, you will die, because it incinerates an entire city.
Sounds about right.
They don't show it off in Edelgard's route, but Hubert and Edelgard also say, hey, those who slither in the dark are kind of turning against us because we killed off one of their generals, being Cornelia, and therefore they're going to make sure that we suffer because they're trying to kill us all at once with one of those javelins of light. Again, magic nukes. And here's the thing, Rhea could survive too because, again, she was a giant-ass dragon, the Immaculate One. Whereas Dimitri and Edelgard, yes, they are, by all extensions, superhuman, they are not tanking a magic nuke.
So, in other words, they are human, not dragons.
Yeah,
They are not going to they're not going to pull a fucking Natsu where he would literally take a bite out of something and get powered up from it because plot armor.
yes, plot armor. Now, animation-wise and everything, I would say the fight is fine. Other than,
Oh, yeah.
I know they were going like the Berserker route, which, again, 3 out of the 4 routes Dimitri is pretty much on that, except in his own. Actually, no, 2 out of the 4 routes he is. That being Verdant Wind and Silver Snow. If you're on the Blue Lions route, he's pretty much chill for most of the game. He has a little psychopath arc, and then he comes on the right path, like they said.
Mm-hmm.
And in Edelgard's route, he's pretty much sane throughout the entire portion, which is why I have that picture of this version of Dimitri, where he didn't lose his eye, where he didn't go insane, where he's the king of Fargus. He only has his like little breakdown near the end, like we mentioned in our previous video covering this.
But the power of friendship prevailed.
Yeah. So, in a sense, like, we get it. Attack potency wise, we put him strong. He can take on hundreds of foes at once, but again, that's more of the Dynasty Warriors. The Warriors gameplay of like, oh yeah, let me take on all of you at once. Because that's like the whole point. We're allowing like the lightning magic because he could channel it through Erenbar because of the awakening stat that they use at the end of the fight. And all that. So, again, we're just really covering all the things that we see that were the problem with Dimitri's explanation of how they use him. It really wasn't that bad. I just wasn't expecting the win out of him more than anything else. What about you, Jesse?
Or
Were you expecting the win,
Just-
or what?
I was expecting Dimitri to get cooked. Because, like, one of the things that I probably should have considered was, yeah, magic. But who the fuck uses magic for Dimitri?
Yeah, essentially, unless you're doing a meme build, which is what we're talking about, because in the episode, they said they're getting meta with it, which is why they're giving Dimitri like everything he has. Versus, like, oh, here's what people usually do. They give him what? Wyvern Lord, Cavalier, or like Paladin and all that, and his unique class, like the High Lord. Because otherwise,
Yeah.
Because, like, oh, what's the point? Unless I'm going for a meme build, because I believe Dimitri doesn't have that high magic anyway.
He doesn't. He starts off with 2 magic to his stat.
And here, I'll even, like, look it up as we're, like, going over and discussing this. Because, again, we weren't expecting this fight. But we will own up and say, like, alright, you know what? We were wrong. We were definitely incorrect. Yeah, his highest magic stat is 38.
Which is not bad, especially in a Fire Emblem game.
It's decent. Like, it is very decent.
Notice how I said not bad.
Yeah.
How I said not bad, not impressive.
Yeah. But then again, it's like, oh yeah, they use actual logic. Alright, yeah, his Guts giant sword and his Berserker armor were good channelers or conductors for the electricity. Which I'm like, that's basic science. So yeah, that makes sense. Which in of itself is like, alright, yeah, we can't.
And then they also said that Guts had to fight lightning callers, but he needed help. And it's like, yeah, Edelgard fought Rhea, but she needed help.
Yeah. And there.
So why are you saying that Guts has basically the disadvantage against lightning, and you say he needed help when you're comparing a fucking dragon to one singular person with a divine battle axe?
And let's say this: if Edelgard was to fight Rhea with no outside help, she would most likely still lose.
Yes, she would.
Yeah, and like, you know why the only reason she won against Rhea in the pre-time skip? She had help. I.e., she had 2 magic newts, a whole ass army, and potentially Byleth by her side, depending on which route you're on.
What now?
And this Byleth is the god of time, Byleth, or if
Yeah.
not, he essentially has time powers, which is already broken enough,
Yeah,
especially
so,
for any general to ever want on their side.
yeah, this is like no one in game knows about Violet's ability to manipulate time other than him and Sophis. So that's like the whole point. That again, this is all heavily dependent on who's on Violet's side in this.
Yeah.
Again, we'll say this: the only reason Edelgard is able to capture Rhea is because, everything we already said: prep time, nukes, army, all that. Now, if you wanted to say, all right, if it was going to be more even, I believe they say Guts is faster because you were watching the end game analysis. That they say
Yeah.
Guts is faster.
So let me see.
Like Guts is faster, but you could say that they have like around the same attack potency. I wouldn't say that they are, because this is again more annoying. If we wanted to use like the different routes, because they're using essentially the multiverse theory here,
Yeah.
like the multiverse theory of like art again, because Dimitri beat Edelgard and Edelgard can beat Rhea. So therefore, Dimitri can beat Rhea, and therefore we have similar durability, which is no, that's not how that works. Because Boo's we'll go with like the Dragon Ball example. Boo's durability varies. The man can be hurt by bullets, but he's not affected by them. I.e., like something that can affect Edelgard and hurt her can affect Rhea, but not hurt Rhea.
Yeah.
And again, Edelgard, Black Eagle Strike Force, Magic Nukes, Rhea's essentially gone crazy at the end of her.
One more thing. So in the Dimitri's route, he fights monsterfied Edelgard. That's what they're comparing Edelgard to Rhea.
Yeah, the Hegemon Husk. That's because she has 2 crests. But we also should say this. Edelgard willingly goes into that form to fight Dimitri and the rest of the Blue Lions.
Mm-hmm.
However,
all right, so here's the plus and minuses that they gave for Guts and Dimitri.
Right.
So for Guts was notably faster. Armor provided superior endurance. Those were his 2 pluses. His minus was his armor was vulnerable to lightning, which makes sense.
That's basic science.
Then they said Dimitri was significantly stronger. Atrocity bypassed armor, which also makes sense. More varied. He has more varied equipment and abilities, but he is slower.
Like the only abilities that he used, because he didn't use anything but Airing Bar and Lightning in that fight.
He used Atrocity.
Atrocity is a skill, but because Atrocity and with the power of the crest, it's essentially like a quadruple damage boost. Because Atrocity will not care about everything. I want to say Frozen Lance is specifically a Fire Emblem 3 Hopes ability, because I don't remember Dimitri having it in 3 houses, but then again, I don't use abilities all that much in 3 houses, other than maybe for
Atrocity?
No, not Atrocity. Frozen Lance, because he uses that attack like once, and it pierces Guts all over.
Yeah.
And again, did Dimitri ever heal himself in the fight? Because they say he has access.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, because healing magic you can't use on yourself unless you have a very, very specific set. If they said healing focus, because I believe damn near every character can use healing focus rather than healing magic, it would make more sense.
Yeah, so they also said that Dimitri could heal himself.
Yeah.
Like they said that, like, oh, Dimitri could heal himself, but it wasn't gonna really do him much because he's up against Guts.
True. But then again, you could argue the blitz in Guts' favor, but Guts' weapon is what doesn't provide the blitz
No.
versus something
Yeah.
like Aaron Barr with Dimitri's natural strength. So, I feel like that we kind of covered everything that is in what was kind of wrong with Dimitri in this fight. Like, I won't deny, like, all right, if someone's stronger and they have a decent durability, that they could take it, but like, if we're gonna argue like which Dimitri it should have been, other than what do you think? Would you think Berserker Dimitri would work in this fight more, or do you think it would be post Byleth Dimitri that would work in this fight more? For like,
I don't know. I would have to say Berserk Dimitri.
I'm gonna be that one weird guy. I'm gonna be kind of concerned. I want post Byleth Dimitri because Dimitri could see Guts going into a Berserk state and make that remembrance, like I was in your position once too. Don't let it consume you.
That ends up going into like the pacifist route.
Well, not the pacifist route, but it goes into he's gone through everything because that's the one that they go over.
Yes, but this is post Byleth, so he's going to end up snapping because he never had anyone to talk to about the trauma.
No, post Byleth he would. He talks to Byleth about the trauma.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking of different.
Yeah, you're thinking of alternate routes.
No, I'm thinking of pre-Byleth, like before Byleth, before he meets Byleth. For some reason.
Yeah, if we were doing like post Byleth, it could have been like a good kind of like iconic reversal of the situation.
It's basically with or without Byleth. With Byleth, would Dimitri be a good match, or without Byleth, would he be a good match?
We're not saying like Byleth on like in the fight because that's not fair because we're not doing tag team.
Well, yeah, we're more saying it's like, what if like we're saying Dimitri who had Byleth on his side, or Dimitri if Byleth chose anyone else that was not Blue Lions.
Yeah, which I believe makes it, again, it would be like an interesting role reversal of, again, like Dimitri is trying to help out someone now who's lost their way, and the person gives in to the anger, forcing Dimitri to kill them, which is essential, which happens at the end of his round. She ends up trying to kill him, and he kills her for it.
With the dagger he gave her.
Yeah. Well, he kills her with Aaron Barr. And
Well, no, I'm saying that she tried to kill him with the dagger.
Yeah. But with that, I feel like we kind of covered everything and why we think Death Battle was kind of wrong with their statistics in this point. And it's mainly going down to durability. And even to the extent of certain abilities and characteristics they mentioned that ultimately have no focus in this fight. I.e., again, the healing, the thunder magic will allow, because that seems a bit more fair. Because, like, all right, yeah, let's give them all this. And if they said, literally,
does Dimitri have access to light magic? That's not healing.
Healing magic.
So I remember light magic does. No, because like there was light and dark magic. I'm thinking of dark magic.
Yes.
Because if someone gets hit with dark magic, it gives health.
White magic. No, there's different types of magic. You have black magic. Actually, no. You have normal magic, I believe it's called. Then you have like dark magic, that being like the miasma, the Hades, spells that are, I believe, exclusive to like Scythia and Hubert. And then you have white magic, which is used for healing. He has healing focus, but that's an ability that everyone can learn, which allows you to, for the sake of expanding your turn, you heal back some HP. But in the fight, they also go into Awakening. He finishes them off. Cool fight a lot. Again, mostly what we're going over is like the durability, some minor nitpicks about attack potency and lore, and that's really all that we have. Other than that, I think they're fine. Like with the animation, it was fine, entertaining, all that.
Yeah.
But What do we have for next time?
Silver Surfer versus Martian Manhunter.
I'm gonna go with Silver Surfer, based purely on the fact that I believe in comics, a lot of people try and jump him, and unless they have prep time, they usually lose.
I.e., the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Maybe
The Fantastic Four tried jumping, so like the Fantastic Four tried fighting Silver Surfer, and Silver Surfer is like, yeah,
No.
one, no, two, I'm gonna fuck with this guy real quick. I forgot fire guy's name, Johnny.
Johnny Blaze, I believe, or Johnny's. No,
Yeah, Johnny Blaze.
Storm. Johnny Storm.
Johnny Storm. So he was like, you're like, no, your teamwork's not gonna work. I'm just gonna fuck with Johnny Storm. Hey, Johnny Storm, you now have the power to basically swap powers with any one of your friends that you touch. Have fun figuring that out.
Yeah, but that was specifically to the movie. That wasn't that good.
It wasn't.
If we are, I'm not. This is probably like the only time we're gonna cover the death battles again, unless it brings up like another character we really, really like. Whether it's for me, Jesse, or any of our friends, that remains to be seen. But that's essentially what it's going to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, unless they put like another Dragon Ball character, what?
Which if they put another Dragon Ball character, we're probably not gonna fucking be like, oh yeah, they're gonna win, because most likely they're gonna give them a bullshit opponent. I.e., Vegeta versus Thor. Yes, it makes sense, but you're telling me Ultra Ego Vegeta, which doesn't have a power scaling at the moment, just can't. It's like no match for Thor. Like, you don't even know like how much power Vegeta gets off of Ultra Ego, especially since every time he gets hit, he gets stronger.
Yeah, if we want to argue that, we can also argue Spirit Vision, which is supposed to be able to separate souls from one another. So Vegeta, if you get a person's key is tied to their soul, which is why you can still sense like Goku in the afterlife or other people. So if we want to argue that Vegeta should theoretically know that Thor's hammer in this version has a soul in it, so therefore separating the soul from the hammer removes a lot of Thor's power. But anyways, that's rambling about that we're arguing, we already talked about. So
Yeah.
Unless they do something that we really, really, really disagree on, or we're really gonna see in the future, don't expect to see another like mini video or rant covering this.
Yeah, really don't. It's not. Nothing's gonna change.
Yeah, you might get us talking about waifus or something in the future, but this is us just going over something we really love. That's it.
Yeah.
All right, catch you all.
They're not gonna pull a Chroma and be like, I can change the future. No.
Guys.
No.